All right. Hello, class. This is today's posting for May 4th on Monday. It's a little bit later in the day. It's about 4 o'clock or so. Sorry about getting them up kind of late. But it's been a crazy day. It's a nice day though. Sun's out, so that's something. So, where we left off last time was solving one-step equations. And if you recall, we were always trying to do the opposite of whatever was in front of the variable. So if we had something like x plus 8 equals 10, something like that. So if we wanted to get this by itself, okay, remember we drew that little line and that was like the equal sign? And we wanted to get this by itself. Since we're adding 8 to that x, we're going to subtract that 8 from that x, like that. So if we have x plus 8 equals 10, when we subtract that 8 from both sides, we get x plus 0, and then 10 minus 8, which is 2, and then we just get x equals 2. And then, just if you wanted to check it really quick, you could take this and plug it right into that equation. So let's see, 2 plus 8 equals 10, 10 equals 10, we're good to go. Okay? So that's what we were looking at. Now today we're not doing anything too different. But we are going to be looking at multiplication and division equations, okay? And it's going to be the same thing. The opposite of multiplication is division and vice versa. The opposite of division is multiplication, okay? So when we're looking at this, it says the expression 3x means 3 times the value of x. Remember, x is a variable. We do not know what x is, okay? So when we just write it as 3x, that means that we're multiplying it. The numerical factor of a multiplication expression like 3x is called a coefficient. So that right there, that 3, that number that appears in front of it is called the coefficient. Okay? That's what that's called. It's a special number because in a lot in math, we're going to be multiplying variables a lot in mathematics. So we kind of give this a special name, 3x. Okay? And so let's look at this equation. If we have 3x equals 6, okay? So here's our 3x's. We don't know what they are, but here's 3x's represented by the bar. We know that that's going to equal 6 individual ones, like that, okay? So once again, we don't know what these x's are, but we know that when we multiply 3 of them, we get 6, okay? So we want to get that x by itself. So what did you do to get from 6 to 2? What did you do to that 6? Think about it for a minute. Hopefully you said you go 6 divided by 3. You divided by 3, right? And that's how you got your 2? Well, to go from 3x to x, you're just going to divide by 3. Just like that. Now, remember, fractions can also be a division problem. So when we divide 3x divided by 3, those 3's cancel out. They go away, right? Because 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 1 times x is x. Okay? So when we divide that, we get x by itself, and then we're left with equals 2. Okay? So let's look at this. Write an equation that represents each of the models below. Identify the coefficient in your equation, then solve. Okay, so let's see. Remember, the coefficient, this is 3x. Our coefficient's 3, so our coefficient is the number of x's we have. So down here, what's our coefficient? How many x's do we have? We have 3. Okay? And now, if we have to come up with an equation, it's going to be how many, 3 what do we have? We have 3x. And sometimes you can write it with the parentheses. You don't have to, obviously. Sometimes it's a habit for me. Equals, and then we count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we know 3x equals 12. Okay? So if we know that the coefficient's 3, up here we knew the coefficient was 3, and what did we divide by? 3. So down here, if the coefficient's 3, what do you think we're going to divide that 12 by? Hopefully you said 3. 12 divided by 3, our solution for this is 4. Okay? Now, that also means that I can plug this in for x and we should get the right answer. So let's see, 3 times 4 equals 12. 12 equals 12, that's true, so that works. That's good to go. Okay? Now let's look at this one. Let's find our coefficient. So how many x's do we have? 1, 2. We have 2 of those. Okay, so we're going to put 2x equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And remember, those are all negative. So this is 2x equals negative 8. Okay? So if we have 2x equals negative 8, we know the coefficient's 2. So if we know that the coefficient is 2, just like up here it was 3, we divided by 3. Up here it was 3, we divided by 3. So down here the coefficient is 2, so what do you think we're going to divide by? What do you think we're going to divide that negative 8 by? Hopefully you said 2. Negative 8 divided by 2 is a negative 4. Okay? And then if we wanted to check that, we could take that and plug it right into the equation up there. Okay? So let's see, 2 times negative 4 equals negative 8. Let's see. 2 times negative 4, that does work out. Negative 8 equals negative 8. That's a good check. That's a good check. Okay? Alright, so this is the division property of equality. So pretty much all this is saying is, as long as you're not dividing by 0, because remember we cannot divide by 0, this is saying that if you divide one side of this equal sign by C, you have to divide the other one by C. And that's what that equality means. You know, whenever, equality, we're always looking for, keeping things the same. So if A does indeed equal B, if they are the same, if we divide A by C, we have to divide B by C to maintain that equality. Okay? And down here, here's a couple examples. So we have 20 equals 4x. What's the coefficient of this? Coefficient's 4. So that means you have to divide both sides by 4, so then those cancel. You're left with an x. 20 divided by 4 is a 5. Okay? And then you can check. If you take that 5 and plug it in here, 20 equals 20, you're good to go. Okay? All right, I'm going to do this one with you. So please follow along. I'm going to have you see if you can solve those two. So on this one, I have 30 equals 6x. So first we have to find the variable. The variable is right there. Okay? If we know the variable is right there, what's the coefficient? The coefficient is 6. So that means we have to divide by each side by that coefficient. Okay? Because now these 6's cancel. 30 divided by 6 is 5. And that equals our x. Alright? Try to pause the video and try those two on your own, please. Okay. Hopefully you paused the video and you tried it on your own. For letter B, the coefficient's negative 6, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 6. Whoops, like that. So now those cancel, and it has to be a negative 6, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So I'm going to get A equals 36 divided by negative 6 is negative 6. And then negative 6 times negative 6 is a positive 36. Okay? So I know A equals negative 6, like that. And then for the last one, I'm just going to divide both sides by negative 9, like that. Okay? Those cancel. D equals negative 72 divided by negative 9. What is that? Negative divided by a negative is a positive, so this is a positive 8. A positive 8. And hopefully that's what you had for it. Okay? All right. And then this is a little word problem. So Leela sent 574 text messages last week. On average, how many messages did she send each day? Okay, so how many days are in a week? 7. We know there's 7 days in a week. Okay. So on average, how many messages did she send each day? So that means that when we set this up, we're going to have M represent the number of messages Leela's sent. So here's 7 times the number of, to get her total messages, 7 times the total that she has. Or I'm sorry, you're going to multiply by the average to get her total. Okay, so you're going to set it up as 574 is her total, equals 7 times M. Now, once again, you found the variable. You have to divide both sides by 7. When you do that, you will get M equals 82. So that means on average, she's going to message 82 texts a day. I'm sorry. Okay? So once again, you have her total equals 7 times her average. And then that would tell you, wait a minute. Yeah, okay. All right, so try this down here. So Mr. Acosta's car can travel on average, an average of 24 miles on each gallon of gasoline. Write and solve an equation to find how many gallons of gasoline she will need for a trip of 348 miles. All right, I'll pause the video and I'll let you try to come to a conclusion. Okay? So the setup for this is going to be 348 equals 24x, like that. And then you want to divide both sides by 24, like that. All right, let me get this. So that's going to tell me it's going to be x equals 14.5, okay? All right, so that's half of it. So remember, if you're multiplying, just do the opposite, so you'll divide both sides. Now down here, very similar, if you're multiplying one side, you have to multiply the other. So now we're going to start with division. So now we're going to kind of go backwards from where we were at. So if I have a variable A divided, now remember, even though that looks like a fraction, that still represents division, divided by -4 equals -9. So that's telling me that if I have a number A, whatever number A is, we don't know, remember, that's a variable, but we divide that number A by a -4, we know our result is going to be a -9, okay? So let's see what's in the basement. -4 is in the basement, so remember, what's the opposite of division? Multiplication. And then what you do to one side, you do to the other, okay? So you multiply both sides by -4, -9 times -4 is 36. Okay, so try these 3 on your own. Please pause the video. Alright, so hopefully you tried these on your own. And this first one, I'm going to multiply both sides by -3. So it would look like that. It would look like that. So then these cancel, and I get y equals -8 times -3 is 24. So it will look like that. Okay, and the next one, I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. When I multiply both sides by 5, those are going to cancel. My m's left. -7 times +5, excuse me, is a negative, oh man, drawing a blank. Yeah, 35. Almost put 45. 35. -35. Alright? And then for the last one, we get 30 equals b divided by -6. So that means that we have to multiply both sides by -6. Ooh. Multiply. Sorry. Okay? So and then when we do that, those are going to cancel. -6 times 30 is a -180 equals my b. Like that. Okay? So hopefully for your solutions, I got y equals 24, m equals -35, and b equals -180. Alright? Hopefully those are your solutions. Alright, so try these on your own, and then tomorrow during the Zoom meeting we can go over these. So try these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on your own, and then during our Zoom meeting tomorrow you can ask some questions, and I'll have a little assignment for you. Thank you.